Okay, chapter 11, we got gender, age, and health. This is not as long of a chapter, but still has some interesting information. Okay, so we're not going to talk as much about gender. We have age and disability. So we have Europe is the oldest continent, with the median age being 37.7. Half of people are above it, half of the people are above it, or half of them are above, half of them are below. Africa is the youngest at 18.4. That is a massive difference. Africa is so young. People die younger. They have more kids, so there's a lot more like young people in general. So it's very different. By 2050, it's expected that 20% of us will be elderly. So why is this happening? You'll find the difference between America's death rates has allowed more people to become old. People aren't dying as much as they used to. Everyone is living longer. America won't see a massive population problem until our median age plateaus. So we are going to keep getting older until we hit a turning point where we can't get any older. Because if you get too old, you start dying. So our median age might still go up, but it can only go up so far. Okay, so we have things like baby boomers, Americans born from 46 to 64. This is from last year, so this should be 74 to 56. I know, like, my father was 61, so he's technically a baby boomer. Massive amounts of babies. They're all going to be hitting retirement age, or they are hitting retirement age. So that's creating a problem for our society because we have too many old people in comparison to other societies where you retired at 65, you died at 67, 68, 69. Okay? It's great to have lots of young people. How many old people can you support? They're not having near as many kids these days. A lot of you come from families of 2 or less. When we used to have families that were 6, 7, 8. You may not even think of David City having less families. They just might have less kids. And that's why this school or other schools are getting smaller. Should have as many babies as we used to. I know for my own parents' generation, my mother had 6 kids in her family. We had 3 kids. There's a lot of families like that where their parents came from a bigger family than what they decided to have. You will have our birth rate. So it's how many births per 1,000 people. Really high in the early 1900s. And like if you look today, it's 15. Oh, sorry. It's 15. So we're having half as many babies. Babies were twice as likely to be a thing 100 years ago. Okay? And it went down, 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 down. And then World War I happened, and then drastic goes down again. Great Recession. You're poor, you're not doing well, you're not going to have any babies. And then things start to peter out, things get better. Okay, things are good. And then war. Beginning of the war. During the war. All of our men are outside the country, you can't have no babies. Okay, then the dads come back, and you find big boom. All these people are born. In some ways, maybe it should be cut off right here. But then you see another big drop again. And then it goes up, and then it goes down. And then it goes a little bit. And then surprisingly, interestingly enough, from 79, let's say this is like 1980, to 1994, 95, 96, which is where I was born, you almost have like a second little baby boom. So it's kind of interesting. You have the baby boom of your parents' generation, and they have another baby boom. You might get these Gen Xers, and then you have you guys down here who are the Generation Z. Okay? Old people power. You'll find ARP is an association of retired persons. They have strong issues influence, so they can talk to Congress. They get stronger every single year because America gets older. So you need to get the votes of all those old people. And old people vote far more than young people. And actually, if young people voted a lot more, there wouldn't be as much retirement money and whatever. There'd be more money on other stuff. So younger people would want. Older people tend to be more conservative, and they grow more conservative as they grow older. Either they become more conservative as a thing, or everybody younger than them is just liberal than they were. It's more liberal than they were, so maybe they're not actually changing that much. But everybody who's really young is super liberal compared to them. Okay. Dependence. So Social Security, we used to have a dependency ratio of 5 workers for every 1 retiree. Now it's 2 to 1. We used to have 5 people that would sacrifice a smidge of their money so that 1 person could be retired. Now it's 2 people. So you either have to increase the money, which is going to suck for workers, or you're going to have to decrease the money you give them or have less people on there. So you could maybe raise the age to 70 and get that ratio up. If the ratio gets to a 1 to 1, it's almost useless because then you're basically paying for your own retirement. If it's 5 to 1, it's not so bad. Okay. Medicare is government health insurance for the old. That's because old people weren't doing very well. America, surprisingly, is one of the best countries to be an old person in. Now, you maybe aren't respected as much as other cultures. However, rich people, older people in America tend to be a little bit richer because we fixed some of the problems of being old. And then Medicaid is government health insurance for the poor. So we have helped the poor too. You get Medicare and Medicaid. And some of you might get Medicaid if your family's poor enough that you need help. Okay, old people money. So I accidentally talked about it before we talked about it. Elderly people live in poverty at 10.2% compared to the average of 11.3%. So it's not a massive difference, but when you consider how many elderly people there are in this country, some places like Florida have 2 to 3 million elderly people in that one state. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. One thing that maybe this just is a me thing as Mr. Pierce, I tend to see people with nice cars are always older. You will see young kids your age that would love to have a nice car. Not everybody can have a nice car. And they want to go fast or whatever. They can't because their car's horrible. And then you'll see an elderly couple is in some brand new 2017 car, and it looks like a car that could go very fast, and they're not going more than 10 miles an hour. Do the elderly need more help if they're doing better than the general public? More of a funny photo, but some people have questioned, hey, we understood in the 1900s old people were doing very bad, but now we've actually helped them out a lot, and now they're actually richer than the actual general public, which makes sense. If you save money, you should be richer, but some people question, do they need more Medicaid, really? Because they're doing fine, supposedly. But some people need a lot of help because they get to their old age and they never saved up. Their retirement is entirely Social Security, and they're just not making that much money. Okay. Disabilities. 53 million Americans have disabilities. Well, 33 million Americans have severe disabilities. That's a lot. It's a lot of people. Think we have about 330 million people, roughly 300 million. 1 in maybe 7 people have a disability of some sort. 1 in 7. You definitely know someone with a disability, or maybe you have a disability of some sort. Some are easy. Some people are paraplegics, they can't walk. Some people have mental disabilities, depression, anxiety conditions, stuff like that. You know someone, whether you know what they have or not, you know someone that has a problem. 33 million Americans, 1 in 10 people, so you should know these people too, have a severe disability. So there'd be severe depression, severe anxiety, anything severe, obviously like mental disabilities. So if you had someone with a Down syndrome or cerebral palsy, they're not going to be able to do pre-calculus most likely as a senior in high school. But that's fine. We do as much as we can for everyone. Doesn't matter who you are. If you're someone who can't walk, there's basketball for you. There's wheelchair races. It's fine. This is a good country where we usually treat people well and they have disabilities. Usually. Doesn't mean all people are treated well. Okay. 28% of those people live in poverty. And remember, that was 11% on average. Those people have 28%. That is a gigantic difference. I said it's more than double. It's almost triple the average. They also face discrimination and prejudice. You'll find many good-natured people, even if they're not evil people, they are not comfortable around people with disabilities. They don't know how to deal with them. They don't know how to care for them. Some of that is just they weren't around people like that. It doesn't technically make them bad people, but everybody should make that effort to hopefully get comfortable with everyone that's around them. Okay, some thinking time. Can you refuse to hire someone with a disability? Is that allowed in this country? Think about it. Here's the answer. Only if the disability affects their job performance in a significant way. Okay? So, if I were someone who had one arm, and my job was to be a teacher, could I be a teacher? Of course, you could still be a teacher. Having one arm would not significantly stop you from being a teacher. I had a very nice math teacher in high school. He, I believe, had polio of some sort. He had muscular dystrophy of the arm. So his one hand was his real hand. It wasn't a fake hand. It did nothing. It just flopped around, didn't have any bone consistency, and never moved in all my year of having him as a teacher. But nice teacher. Great teacher. Doesn't stop them. However, if you were a bricklayer or someone that's working with their hands and you only had one arm, you're not going to do well at your job. Sorry. They could say, we'd love to have you. You're a great person. You're a hard worker. You just can't do the job. You'll have some people, if they're a delivery worker, if you can't use your legs, they can't hire you. Now, however, there are some places that if they have very simple work, so if you're someone who's mentally handicapped, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, whatever, you can actually get hired by some places because you do the same routine all the time, and they can get good at it. Okay.